This place, America's hallowed ground of speed. Daytona International Speedway. A legendary track where some of the greatest stories in auto racing have been written. And now it's the location of a new breed of endurance racing, triathlon. Seems as though somebody built Daytona International Speedway for triathlons. It's all right here. 33 of the greatest triathletes from around the world will swim, bike, and run a total of 100 kilometers around one of the fastest tracks in the world. 100 grand total purse is up for grabs. And today, these athletes are playing for keeps. Daytona International Speedway, it's known around the world as the home to the Daytona 500, one of the most famous races in all of auto racing. Today, it's home to the triathlon, men and women challenging the water there in Lake Lloyd, as well as the track here at the World Center of Racing. And the athletes that are here will not disappoint, including the Olympic gold medalist and one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, Christian Blumenfeld, coming off an incredible performance 2 weeks ago in Cozumel. Ben Canute could be the toughest competitor for Blumenfeld today, as the 28-year-old from the United States will try to outswim the rest of the competition. Rudy Von Berg, he's great once he gets on the bike. He will also be contending against Christian Blumenfeld. On the women's side, Jackie Herring, a 5-time 70.3 winner, will have her hands full with a couple Great Britain athletes, one being Lucy Hall. She took 2 part-time jobs during the pandemic because there weren't triathlons going on. Well, now she's fully focused on getting to victory lane, as well as Jody Stimpson, who started the season off in Miami with a win, would love to end the season with another win, and it could come right here at CLASH Daytona, here at Daytona Beach, Florida, at Daytona International Speedway. Alongside 2 of the best in the business, Tim O'Donnell, as well as Belinda Granger. Rick Allen with you. And I mentioned Christian Blumenfeld in this field 2 weeks ago in Cozumel. He put together the best full-distance triathlon that has ever been done. So the competition is very fierce, but it has been this venue. For some reason, Belinda, it has become world-renowned in a very short period of time.
Oh, look, it certainly has. It has cemented itself as a must-do event. Look, most of us have only ever seen this place on television. It's a dream come true to come here and actually be able to race on it. I know, coming from Australia myself, I've only ever watched cars go around this on television. It has been such a big, incredible event. Now for triathletes to be able to experience that for themselves, I mean, I get goosebumps still just thinking about it.
Well, speaking of that, Tim, you were on this track a year ago. So what's it like for the athletes?
It's amazing. Having the crowd on the multi-lap bike and run, all that support, and the history of the Speedway, to be part of that, like Belinda said, it'll give you goosebumps.
Yeah, and it's going to be exciting. Again, we've got an incredible field that is here with us today that will be contending against the elements. You've got Lake Lloyd here, and we take a look at the track map and what these athletes are going to have to do.
And of course, they begin in Lake Lloyd with a 2-kilometre swim, 2 1K loops. We've got an Aussie exit. So for those of you that don't understand the Aussie exit, they do have to exit after each lap, dive back in, and then straight into T1.
20 blistering laps around the Speedway. It's flat. You hold your speed through the turns. It is the fastest bike course in triathlon.
And then on to the 4-lap run course, 18 kilometres, 11.1 miles here today. Pretty much the same as the run course. They do deviate slightly onto the road track here in Daytona, but again, flat and furious run course.
We have running shoes on the ground right amongst all of the athletes, and we'll start off with Greg Bennett.
Thanks, Rick. I'm down here in the transition area. The day is just absolutely beautiful. There's a slight breeze. It is starting to warm up just a little bit. The athletes are probably going to have to focus on staying cool and hydrated. But I just want to have a quick overview of the men. We have Christian Blumenfeld. What a year. Olympic champion, ITU world champion, and 2 weeks ago had the fastest ever Ironman that we've ever seen, 7 hours 21. Can he perform again this weekend? Let's wait and see. But he's up against some really phenomenal athletes in Ben Canute, Rudy Von Berg, Magnus Ditlev. These guys have all had world championship medals. They've all won massive races this year, and they're ready to take down Christian Blumenfeld. Over to you, Alicia.
Thanks, Greg. There's really no clear favorite in today's women's race. We've got Jackie Herring, who's been so consistent all year long, and does she have one more performance in those legs? Jody Stimpson, who's really struggled with injury this year, but had a really special performance in Miami earlier. And then finally, we have Lucy Hall, the youngster from Great Britain, who is a super, super swimmer. We're going to see her really setting the pace today, but she's raced a lot. So it's really any women's race, but we're going to see an amazing battle out there. Back to you, Rick.
I agree, Alicia. And maybe the reason why it's such a wide open field is because the winner of the last two events here isn't here in Paula Findlay. She came in 2019 and dominated that event, went out there and just smoked the field. Well, in 2020, with it all on the line and a $100,000 purse for winning the race, she goes back to back to get that win. But an ankle injury has kept her away from the competition today, and so here are the women's contenders. On the left side, you see the bib numbers. We'll be able to identify them there. Who do you see as favorites here, guys?
Oh, look, for me, the standout has to be Lucy Hall. She's come off 3 spectacular wins this year in Europe. She's raced a lot, no doubt, but I think she's in very, very good race shape coming in today's race.
And Jody Stimpson, big win in Miami this year. She knows how to race on a track. If she can get over that injured foot, she's going to be a huge contender, but we can't overlook Jackie Herring. She's an American. She's going to be a crowd favorite.
And so the start of the women's event, as the athletes were all introduced to the fans here, the favorites and the cannon firing. The start of the swim. 2 laps, 2,000 meters, 2K here in Lake Lloyd. And guys, Lucy Hall jumps out quick.
Look, I have to be honest, I am actually in a little bit of shock that, and this is no disrespect to Lucy Hall, because as I've said, she is one of the best swimmers in our sport. But I'm a little shocked that she's managed to drop Sara Perez-Sala like she has. And this is really going to change the entire dynamic of this women's race, because now you've got Jody Stimpson, who is going to be able to stay on Sara's feet.
And it's a 3-athlete breakaway on the second lap of the swim, Belinda.
But it's not a position that Lucy Hall is not familiar with. And if you look at 2 of her greatest races this year alone, this is exactly how she started. She got a lead in the swim. She actually increased her lead on the bike, and she put together a solid enough run to enable her to take the win. Now, we saw that in Samarin. We saw that in Budva. And as I said, of all the athletes racing today, Lucy is in what I would say the best race shape.
All right, guys, here she comes out of the water, and Greg is right there. She could be going for the Wahoo Grand, which is up for grabs here in Transition 1. Greg?
Oh, she looks comfortable. She looks so easy. She's done this so many times before. She looks like she's going for the Wahoo Grand, mate. She's absolutely flying. She knows she has to maximize this. She's opened the gap. You don't want to give it away. And so these transitions are so important that she actually dials it in. So she'll be running as fast as she can to optimize this lead she has. And it's decent, you guys. It's decent. When Sara gets out, she may not even see Lucy in transition at all, which when we talk about the mental game of the sport, if your competitors can't see her, well, then that's a huge advantage. But here she comes. Here comes Sara out of the water, and she also is absolutely flying. I think they've both got an agenda. I don't know if they spoke pre-race. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the 2 of them could work together on the bike. I know there's a 20-meter draft rule, but there's still this ability to pace off each other. But I'll pass it over to you, Alicia, because I know you're in transition.
Yeah, I'm watching Lucy right now. She struggled a little bit getting the wetsuit off of her heels, which is the trickiest part of getting a wetsuit off, and wobbling her helmet strap a bit. So I'll be surprised if she gets it. That wasn't a flawless transition. I think there's room for improvement, but gosh, she ran fast from the swim exit over here. And I've got Sara Perez-Sala running in right now, looking really, really comfortable. So we'll see if she can have a little bit smoother transition and get a chance at winning this $1,000 from Wahoo for the fastest transition today.
Now, just to let our crowds know, our spectators know, that there are 2 lots of $1,000 bonuses for the fastest T1 and T2 today for our professional men and professional women. So every second will count. That was a great transition from Sara Perez. I dare say a little faster than Lucy Hall.
What a start for the women as Lucy Hall leads out of Transition 1 with Sara Perez-Sala and Jody Stimpson looking to make up ground on the bike. We'll be back to Daytona after this. Welcome back to Clash Endurance from Daytona. Bill Christie and his Clash team have created such a unique event. Let's hear more on what makes Clash so special.
Clash is mind over body. Every minute of, I've only got 2 minutes left, I know I can last 2 more minutes. Whether you're training, whether you're racing, saying I'm pushing everything I've got a quarter mile left, I can do this. NASCAR's got a phrase that I love, and that is, if they get you to a race, they got you as a fan. We believe if we can get you to put a shoe on, we can get you to be healthy.
Triathlon is great for the body because it's not too much wear pattern in any one part of your body. So, the swimming is great, the biking is great, the running is great. It really balances out the body in such a healthy way that if you're somebody that's inclined to try, it's a sport that can be done at any stage. Health and healthy means something different to every single person, and there's no one size fits all.
I've had these words put on my alarm clock or on where I brush my teeth every night since I was a little girl, and it says, remember what you feel like after. And those are really important words to me. I remember what I feel like, even though I wake up, oh man, I don't feel like moving that much today or whatever it is. But as soon as you do it, you're like, man, I'm so glad I did that. I feel so much better. I'm happier, I have more adrenaline, I have more pep in my step. And for me, I've been like that since I was a little girl, and I feel grateful that I'm able to do it.
Obviously, to push our bodies as hard as we do, we need to eat healthy and take care of our bodies from, a physical therapy and massage standpoint and things like that. So I think we're really healthy people, but I think the great thing about triathlon is any age group athlete or anyone from any sport background can have the goal of completing a triathlon with whatever your lifestyle is and however you can fit the training into your daily life. Whether you're a parent or you work a lot, it is a very fun and approachable sport.
Clash Endurance is a family experience, a race experience. There's something for everybody.
I'm loving every second of it. Hey, I'm loving every minute of it.
I want them to have a memory of them pushing for their personal best or doing their first. I want you to walk away feeling like that was a great experience and your entire family that was there had something to do and they were just as excited.
I think that's cool about races like Daytona. There's tons of people who are doing it for the first time and having their first race ever, and at the same time, lots of people that are, have a lot of experience.
I'm loving every second of it. Hey, I'm loving every minute of it.
The Clash team and Bill Christie have truly started a revolution. I hope that I'm still racing many years to come just to be able to experience it, just to be able to put races on and execute them so well in speedways across the country. It hits the pros, it hits the amateurs, it hits their families. It's riveting.
I'm loving every minute of it.
CEO of Clash Endurance, Bill Christie, has built a brand that embraces NASCAR venues to enhance the race experience for athletes and their families, and delivers exceptional endurance sports events at NASCAR speedways across the United States. The mission is to advance the sport with family-friendly, professionally managed, inspired races for all ages and all race abilities. The company is taking on additional endurance sports and expanding offerings beyond the Triathlon Festival. The 2022 schedule is all set with races at the Homestead Miami Speedway in March, Watkins Glen International in July. Road Atlanta's event will be an endurance-style event in November, and once again, the season finale for Clash will be at the World Center of Racing, the Daytona International Speedway, in early December. Now let's take a look at the women's highlight as they move through Transition 1.
Transitioning back to the women coming out of the water. It was Lucy Hall who was the first out of the water, and we knew that Sara Perez Sala was going to be strong as well. She came out second. Jody Stimpson was right there close as well. India Lee in the yellow there won the Wahoo Grand as the fastest through Transition 1. Lucy out on the bike first and had a pretty substantial lead. We saw Sara Perez Sala go for water twice. and not get there for it. And then the move by India Lee. She gets by Sara Perez Sala as well as Jody Stepson up to the second spot. Lucy Hall continuing to lead, has just over a 3-second lead on India Lee now. Wahoo Grand up for grabs in T2 for the women. And will this be the right amount of gap between Lucy Hall and India Lee, as well as Rach McBride running third, Jackie Herring in fourth.
So that's going to be the split we're interested in, to be honest, Rick. 5:16 right now between Hall and Herring. But great transition so far for Lucy Hall. That's the best thing about coming into T2 on your own. You've got no pressure around you, no one else. You've got the full transition to yourself. You don't have to do anything silly.
No elbows flying, no bikes flying.
Sock going on, and shoes 3.5 minutes in front of India Lee. How's your lower back right now? You've been in that position. You're bending over to put socks and shoes on.
She's wishing she wasn't still bent down right now. She can't wait to stand up. I'm sure she's confident right now, but you know, last year might still be in her mind a little bit with the cramping.
So we'll see how she stretches out after being in that position, that same position, for over an hour.
Well, I have to say, from what I'm seeing right here, she looks pretty good. I'm actually quite surprised. Still looks quite relaxed in the face. Shoulders are relaxed.
She looks in control, Belinda.
Yep.
She looks confident.
Looking at the watch.
Nutrition, different things that she's bringing with her.
She needs to get calories in. As we said, it's still an 18-kilometer run. 4 laps around the track now.
And she knows with the lead she has, the other women have to take chances to try to beat her. And she is in control right now.
Best to be in control, right? You want to be in control of the race.
But looking now, look at the stride. I mean, I think Lucy looks really, really good.
You mentioned 18 kilometers. That equates to 11.1 miles.
Thank you for doing that conversion, because I definitely couldn't.
Got my calculator out.
I'm sitting next to the Australian, so I automatically am going to kilometers.
But this is the start for Lucy. They'll make a little bit of a turn onto the road course here for this run. And so they'll go into the infield for just a little bit and come back out onto the apron of the racetrack here. And in the meetings with these athletes, they said, okay, obviously the runners, you're going to want to stay to the inside. You'll stay in tight on the inside of the course, because when the cyclists are out there, they will be on the outside of that apron. You want to make sure that the runners and cyclists, which will be on the same apron, stay clear of each other.
But still deadpan flat. Like
still flat.
Yeah. But looking at Lucy now, great cadence. She's up nice and high. Shoulders are relaxed.
As the women transition to the run, we transition to the men who are about to get underway. The biggest stars in triathlon start their event next. Welcome back to Clash Endurance from Daytona. The men have warmed up and are ready to get started.
We take a look at the contenders. Again, the bib numbers on the left side of the screen. Christian Blumenfeld, the Olympic gold medalist this year, world champion, as well as he did his first full distance just 2 weeks ago, and very strong. Who do you guys like in this field other than Christian?
I know. I mean, it's very easy for us all to say Christian Blumenfeld. For me, Ben Canute is the in-form athlete race-wise right now as well, outside of Christian Blumenfeld. But I've got a personal favourite here, I won't lie, Magnus Ditlev. Obviously met him for the first time here in 2019 and was so impressed with this young boy. He has really matured over the years, and I think he could be a force to
Rudy
reckon
Von Berg, Belinda.
Yeah,
he's
Rudy's
hungry
great.
right now. He's had a tough year. He had mono earlier in the year. This is going to be his world championship.
For the men, with introductions to the fans here, Christian Blumenfeld, Ben Canute, and the cannon goes and chaos ensues. Right away, it was Mark Dubrick that jumped up front with Ben Canute following closely behind, but they both were looking over their shoulder How close is that pack? And where is Christian Blumenfeld? Well, there he is. He came out of the water fourth for the first lap. And right back in they went. And now getting ready to finish the swim portion of this triathlon for the men. And once again, it's Ben Canute who has made his way back up front. Mark Dubrick is right behind him, right on his heels. Here we go with the men coming out of the water, heading to T1, Greg.
All right, Ben has just looked over his shoulder. He's got Mark White with him, and they are running to T2 as quick as they can. But his quick look over his shoulder, again, I think he's a bit surprised to see the chase group right here as they exit the water. Here comes Christian Blumenfeld. They can all see each other. They're all running on the red carpet right now. There is no serious gap. This is going to be interesting to actually, guys, we got to talk about this. The Wahoo Grand. This transit, Brent McMahon has just gone past me. Oh my goodness, what's an expression we have in Australia? He's just taken off. He wants the $1,000 for sure. Look at him go. So right now, my money's on Brent McMahon. I've never seen a guy take off like that trying to win a preem before.
And I love it, Greg, because he is the oldest in the field at 41 years of age. Nice to see.
Well, here's our Magnus Ditlev has just gone past me, and he can see them as well. So he's had a fantastic swim, by the way. Normally, he's having to chase up a little bit after the swim. Not today. He's right with them.
We see Christian Blumenfeld right now taking the wetsuit off, helmet going on.
So Ben Canute leading them out of T1, followed by Mark Dubrick. We can see Christian Blumenfeld out on his bike now. There's Brent McMahon. Christian Blumenfeld right behind Brent McMahon.
Looks like Rudy Von Berg coming out now as well, right behind Christian.
Yeah, what a transition for Brent McMahon.
Really fast transition.
I believe Greg called that earlier. It's Brent is his favorite for the Wahoo Grand winner.
Oh, I like it. Well, wise choice. There's Tom Davis also out on the bike now.
Igor Amarelli following behind.
And such a tight group.
Very
still,
tight.
too. I mean, there was not a big gap between any of these athletes coming out of the water.
As the men continue through transition one, let's get you caught up on the women's run.
And so Lucy Hall, as we mentioned, out of the water first, off the bike first, out onto the track, and had a pretty good sized lead. Jody Stimpson, a unintentional lettering penalty when her number comes off. When she's made aware of it, she realizes the rule is if you can pick it back up, the penalty goes away. She does, and so that 30-second penalty erased. Jackie Herring, a very dominant run, reeling in Lucy Hall. Coming up on the last lap, it was a little over 90 seconds was the gap. Now 47 seconds separating the two, and you can see the step picking up for Jackie Herring now as Lucy Hall trying to stay in front. Just a half a lap remaining here at Daytona.
Jackie Herring is going for it right now.
Oh, is she what?
There is blood in the
Wow.
water in her mind, and she's going to give everything she has.
What does Lucy have?
No.
What will she know? Will she start to look over her shoulder?
No.
She hasn't had to all race.
Look, honestly, Lucy, if Lucy had an extra gear, she would have used it by now. This is it. What we're seeing is what Lucy has left. And I mean, you've got to understand, she's led from the beginning of this race right up to now. Hats off to her. She's really had a superb race. She's just run out of gas just a little bit too early. But yeah, I think once Jackie Herring catches Lucy, we're not going to see Lucy go with her. I just don't think she's going to be able to. And on the other hand, Jackie Herring, I mean, look at the difference in turnover right now. Once Jackie Herring catches Lucy, she's not going to be hanging around. She's going to pick the pace up on purpose, go past her, and not even give Lucy a chance to go with her.
And Jackie has been in Lucy's head for quite a while now in this run.
Yep.
Lucy Hall knows
Almost
she's coming,
waiting
and
for her
she
to
knows
come.
she's
That's
coming
right.
fast.
That's right.
And that's from past performances. Lucy knows what she's capable of running. She knows what her competitors are capable of running. All of these athletes study who they're going up against. They know what they're capable of doing. Lucy Hall knew the strategy she needed to put in place to win this race.
Yeah, Jackie is just having the absolute race of her life. And I mean, particularly the run. Jackie not only had a brilliant swim, she did what she needed to do on the bike to stay in contention. And I think Lucy is close. We will see Lucy put together this full, complete race. But unfortunately, today's it looks like Jackie's going to make this pass, but she's just having an absolutely brilliant day. And let's not forget, this is a mother of 2.
Half a lap away from glory for Lucy Hall, but Jackie Herring is breathing down her neck as we are in the final stages of our women's event. The incredible finish is up next. Welcome back to Clash Endurance Daytona on NBC Sports.
The gap has closed to about 15 yards.
Rick, I think it's closer than that already. I think she's moving in fast.
She can hear the footsteps.
Here
Lucy
she goes.
Hall has been so dominant, has been so strong throughout this race, but as we've seen so many times here at turn 4 at Daytona, a last lap pass. Jackie Herring goes by Lucy Hall, takes the lead here at Daytona.
And there is no looking back right now with Jackie.
In fact, she's picked it up. Look at that. If you look at her cadence, she has actually picked that up exactly as I said she was going to. And did you see the difference in their run form when they went past? Jackie with that beautiful forward lean, while Lucy Hall standing up straight. There is nothing at all that Lucy Hall could do.
And their stride lengths, Belinda. I mean, you look at it, as you get tired, you tighten up, and we're seeing that with Lucy Hall right now.
And Jackie Herring looking confident now out front.
And she's such a fierce competitor, Jackie Herring. Every race I watch this woman do, she gives it her all. I love the way she races.
We've talked so much about age, the difference of these runners, these athletes out on the track. Jackie Herring, a 37-year-old, mother of 2. A smile on her face now. Alicia, you actually may have called this when there was about a 3.5-minute lead that Lucy Hall had, that you thought Jackie Herring could catch her.
Yeah, it just watching these women race, like you can kind of, there's a lot of tells that, you know, when you're an experienced athlete, and I have the experience of racing against these women, I can tell when they're going to have a great day, when they're, you know, maybe not quite going to hold on for the win. And Jackie just had that special look about her. She was hungry, and she unapologetically goes for the win. That's what I love about Jackie. She might not be the most famous athlete in the sport, but she sure is making a name for herself. And I really hope that this result today does help, you know, just build her resume and get a lot more people looking at what she's doing, because gosh, she deserves it.
Remember the last 2 years, this place was owned by Paula Findlay. It was the Paula Findlay show. And now Jackie Herring has said, I'm the new leader in the pack here, as she showed with this run here today.
Well, she made a statement in Miami coming third, you know, getting onto that podium, and now she's just up to game even again, coming home.
The crowd now will cheer her on.
She's executed the day so well, Rick. Didn't panic.
Kept her cool all day long.
She makes the final kick as the crowd begins to give her the support she's deserved all day long.
She's still accelerating.
Speeding up as she makes it on to the red carpet here on pit road, and she sees the finish line. Jackie Herring is going to win Clash Daytona.
What an incredible race from Jackie Herring today. Well done, Jackie. That was amazing. And you can see she's given it everything.
Lucy Hall.
And what an effort, what a performance.
What a day.
But let's be honest, this is the sort of racing we want to see. I want to see close, hard racing. I want to see these women giving it absolutely everything. And these 2 women today did exactly that. This is why I love our sport.
And it was down to the last half mile.
Exactly.
Last turn.
It took that long.
And we said it would. We said it would.
Thanks.
Pierre in 4th, and there is literally no time. Oh, and
Look
look
at
at
this
this.
now.
As I say it, here she comes.
Marjolaine
Oh my
Pierre
gosh.
has passed Jody Stimson for the 3rd position. What a kick.
Oh my gosh, this is insane. I knew it was going to be close. I did not know it was going to be this close.
The 22-year-old Pierre, third at Daytona.
What a run.
Oh, that's incredible.
Jody Stimpson is fourth.
Let's hear from the winner, Jackie Herring.
I feel exhausted. It was so hard. I had to dig just absolutely into the depths to catch Lucy on that last lap, and it was just extremely hard. I'm glad it's the last race of the year.
So when you talk about digging deep, what were you thinking when you could finally see her in your horizon and that she was in sight? What went through your head?
Yeah, so I caught a glimpse of her right here as we were crossing at the start of the last lap, and then you're kind of doing the calculations, like, is it actually possible to catch her? And then you have a mental battle because second place is still good. So I had to really decide to dig extremely deep and run like literally as hard as I possibly could to try and catch her, and I didn't even know if I would or not. So it was a nice experiment, and I'm glad it ended the way it did.
So Jackie Herring, our #1 athlete today, what an incredible race she had. In second place, Lucy Hall, and it was oh so close. In third, Marjolaine Pierre having an incredible run, particularly on that last lap, to just overtake Jody Stimpson. In fourth place, Laura Siddle in fifth place, Anne Reichman in sixth, and also Anne taking the T2 $1,000 thanks to Wahoo. In seventh, Rach McBride from Canada. Eighth place, India Lee. Ninth, Leslie Smith. And rounding out our top 10, no other than Meredith Kessler, our oldest female in the field. What an incredible job from her today. What a race we had with our women. That was absolutely incredible. Such close racing, just the way we like it, just the way it should be.
I'm here with Lucy Hall. So close. I have to admit, you were my pick. I was talking with Kevin McKinnon yesterday, and I thought, if Lucy can put together 1, 2, 3, and with that bike lead, that was just incredible. How did it feel going on to the run?
Thanks, Alicia. It was tough because actually on the bike, my watts were terrible. I felt awful. Like even in the water, I didn't feel great, and I just thought, oh, maybe I'll get into it. Maybe I'll feel better on the run. And I did for about 2 laps, but then I started to overheat a bit. Luckily, I managed to grab a really cold bottle of water and cool down a bit, and just tried to like stay relaxed and just sort of stick to my plan, which was just to kind of like hold sort of 3:55 like K pace. But yeah, Jackie was just coming so quick, and I was really dying in like that last sort of 2K. So when she came past me, it was a bit like, yeah, a dagger in the heart. But at the same time, I'm just super happy like where I've come, and yeah, for this year as well, especially. Yeah.
What a race from Jackie Herring and Lucy Hall. A battle down to the finish with Marjolaine Pierre joining them on the podium. We'll be right back with more men's action next on NBC Sports. Welcome back to Clash Endurance from Daytona International Speedway. As our women's event is wrapped up, let's check in on the men's bike.
Out of the water. We knew Ben Canute was going to be strong. Mark Dubrick also very strong through the water. In T1, it was Ben Canute who was able to get out first. Bren McMahon, you see him sprinting there, coming out of the transition area under the Wahoo banner. He won the Wahoo Grand. But once they got on the bike, Ben Canute out front. But it was only a matter of time before Magnus Ditlev, the strongest cyclist in the field, was able to get by. He has passed not only Ben Canute, but also Christian Blumenfeld, moved by Ben Canute to take second away. Now we see, look at Magnus up in the seat, getting ready for T2.
He just looks so smooth when he rides his bike. I mean, he's a monster of a guy. He's really tall, but he just looks beautiful on a bike.
As I mentioned, just under 6 feet 5 inches tall for Magnus Ditlev, the 23-year-old, coming out of his shoes now as he's getting ready for the transition. And again, the Wahoo Grand still up for grabs for the men in T2.
I'm down in T2, guys, waiting for Magnus to come in. But first, I want to say what an epic race that was for the women.
Epic.
Have that tussle, first and second, and then again for third and fourth. What magnificent racing. But I've got Magnus coming down into transition 2 now. 2.5 minutes, guys. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how they leave this to T2 to know how they're going to actually perform out on the run. But he's now about to come off his bike right now as he comes in, stretching his legs and his back. We've got to keep in mind some of these guys are going to not run as well as we are used to seeing them because they've been so tucked in one position for so long. It looks a little stiff, but fair enough.
That
80
first step
kilometers.
didn't look great, Greg.
That first step looked a little bit shaky, but I'd be surprised if anybody looks phenomenal after 80 kilometers tucked in that one same position.
And it's not hard to put, or it is very hard to put time into guys like Ben Canute or Christian Blumenfeld. So I'm sure the effort has taken a great toll on him.
He had one race plan today, T.O., and that was to open up the biggest gap that he possibly could. But he's taking his time in T2. This is not the fastest. This is not an ITU transition, that's for sure.
There will be no Wahoo Grand.
I don't think we're seeing a Wahoo Grand.
I don't think he's worried
but off he
about it
goes.
right
He has the lead. He's just been given a split.
Magnus Ditlev leads the way through transition 2. Can Christian Blumenfeld make up ground as we start the run? We will see when we come back to Clash Endurance Daytona. Welcome back to Clash Endurance from Daytona. Here is the highlight from the start of our men's run.
As I come into transition 2, it was Magnus Ditlev who really put on an impressive performance on the bike. We knew it was only a matter of time before Christian Blumenfeld would close the gap. He did it in T2 where he won the Wahoo Grand. When he came out, it was full speed ahead and only a matter of time before he was able to catch up to the leader Ditlev. As we see Rudy Vonberg, he was able to go by Ben Canute. Matt Hansen with a strong run, also reeling in these racers, but this was the pass for the lead. It was Christian Blumenfeld who really had a burst of speed, goes by Magnus Ditlev, and has not looked back since.
Regardless of whether it's a world record time or not, the time he did was phenomenal. So I think we can just keep it at that.
And I think everyone would have been hard pressed to go any faster on that day than he did.
I agree.
Magnus Ditlev holding on to second, but you can see third in the background there, and it looks like Rudy Vonberg back far enough that probably won't catch Magnus Ditlev.
He's still 3:13.
Yeah, but
well, not 3:13. He's about what's that? Just under 2 minutes down.
Under 2 minutes.
Just
behind
under
him.
2 minutes behind. Yeah, I can't see him getting caught. Ditlev would have to self-implode for that to happen. I think we can be fairly confident that Blumenfeld, Ditlev, Vonberg. I think Hansen's going to run out of real estate here.
Yeah, still a little over a minute behind Rudy Vonberg as they're closing in on probably the final mile here in Clash Daytona. And once again, you're going to see a little skip in the step here of Christian Blumenfeld as he comes in front of the crowd for the final time. Turned around to make sure, just to be sure that Ditlev wasn't right next to him, but some high fives to the crowd. Again, what a incredible spectator group here at Daytona. And what a performance and a person that we have become or come to know now in Christian Blumenfeld. So many of the amateur athletes are sticking around here to watch this performance. And what a performance it is. The Olympic gold medalist, the world champion in triathlon, is going to win Clash Daytona. Christian Blumenfeld wins at Daytona.
And look at it, he doesn't even look like he's exhausted. A big smile. He's not breathing heavy. Bill Christie, the CEO of CLASH Endurance, giving him a big hug on the finish line. The vision that Bill Christie has been nothing short of amazing.
He's been a gracious champion all week. It's been a
really
pleasure
has.
to have him here.
3 hours, just under 9 minutes, the finishing time for Christian Blumenfeld. And he's going to carry a conversation on right now with Bill. We're seeing
It's incredible.
Magnus Ditlev.
I think he's
fantastic performance by
It is a
Magnus.
fantastic performance. I'm pretty sure he's glad it's only a 4-lap run here today, but he's done very, very well to hold on to second place.
I saw a little smirk on his face.
Yep.
I think it's starting to set in that, hey, this has been an amazing performance.
If I'm going to get second to anyone, it might as well be the Olympic gold medalist. I'm okay with that.
He's in rare air.
And I think we were wondering, was it enough? Was the gap enough? And what kind of a performance could we see out of Magnus Ditlev
So
in the
impressive.
run?
So impressive.
Crowd cheering him on as well. What a performance these men have been able to do today, as Ditlev is going to be able to cross the finish line second today to Blumenfeld. A little more of a grimace on his face as he comes under the arch.
Magnus had to earn this one, Rick.
Yes, he did.
So that's race number 11 for Magnus Ditlev this season alone. He's done 10 half-distance races already. Race number 11. I think he has well and truly earned his off-season this year. I think Christmas is going to be a good one for Magnus Ditlev.
And we saw Greg Bennett down there talking with the athletes. He is standing by with Christian Blumenfeld.
Christian Blumenfeld, what a year, what a race. How do you feel right now?
Well, I was kind of a little bit stressed there on the bike. You know, Magnus was going so hard, and I saw on the timing board on the opposite side that he was gaining like 10 seconds per lap, and I just tried to do the math. Okay, it's like 14 lap left, how much, kind of 230 maybe, like, okay, I should be able to run that down, but then he started to increase that kind of per gap, no, per lap, and oh yeah, it was kind of a relief when I managed to pass him there on the third lap, and I kind of knew that, okay, I have the win in my pocket, and the last lap was just, yeah, a joy.
Christian Blumenfeld is the 2021 CLASH Endurance Daytona champion and has now won 6 races in 8 events this season. What a year for the Norwegian. We'll hear from more athletes and wrap up our events. Welcome back to CLASH Endurance from Daytona. Let's take a look at the top 10 men finishers.
What a performance he put on the bike and was able to hang on, put a really good run together to hold on to that second place. Rudy von Berg, after a sickness this season, didn't know what he was going to be able to bring to this last event of the year, and he comes home with a podium finish in third.
Standouts for me, 5th place, Brett McMahon, our oldest in the field. Great to see him back racing so well. And for me personally, Tom Davis, he's had a really rough up and down year, a couple of bike crashes that have forced him out of races. So to see him take 7th. And Taylor Reid, he's been at every single Daytona event since it started. So to see him get in the top 10, really great race from Taylor Reid. And Nicholas Chase, he'll be very happy with 10th place.
Yeah. Matt Hansen, that 4th place. Tough couple weeks for him, but he's shown that he's back.
And now down to Alicia with our 2nd place finisher.
Magnus, congratulations, just such a dominant bike. How did you feel about your race today?
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy with my race, especially I had a very good swim. So for once I started the bike in a good position and I tried to be aggressive from the start and try to make a gap, and I succeeded. And then out onto the run, I feel like I ran pretty well for 2 laps, and then I saw Christian was just storming towards me, and when he passed me I was completely empty, and I could see that I had a big gap down to 3rd place, so the last lap was just about getting to the finish line.
Watching you make moves on the bike is really, really fun to watch. We were all just losing our minds watching you literally look back. Oh, have I popped Christian yet? Have I popped Christian yet? What were you doing? Were you consciously trying to drop him?
No, I started the bike in a good position, so I was more riding like a steady pace this time instead of when I have a bad swim. I usually go really hard from the beginning and try to bridge the gap, but this time I was there already almost, so I didn't do like huge surges. I more stick to my own pace.
What a day it has been here at Daytona International Speedway. Started with the women diving into Lake Lloyd here, and a really tight competition that we saw on the women's side.
We really did, you know, and as expected early, Lucy Hall took control of the race. She really did, for the swim and the bike. With our men, of course, Ben Canute, one of our favourites, Christian Blumenfeld, our favourite for the day, and he did not disappoint.
It wasn't easy on the women's side, especially for Jackie Herring. Lucy Hall had a good lead. Jackie Herring had to fight to catch her and get past her to grab that win. And on the men's side, everyone expected Christian Blumenfeld to hoist the banner at the end, and that's exactly what happened. Thanks for joining us here at 2021 CLASH Daytona.